Welcome to the 72nd Annual National Veterans Day Parade in Birmingham, Alabama. Armistice Day first became Veterans Day right here in Birmingham in 1947, and we're about to celebrate it for the 72nd year in a row. It's November 11th, 2019, and we can hear the parade approaching now. Before it does, we have some very important people to thank. This live stream, broadcast, and permanent posting of today's parade are made possible by these fine Birmingham area sponsors who salute the men and women of our military for their brave and dedicated service to our country. Lycus Integration, Paradigm and Heradyne, Chris Z's, National Veterans Foundation, CSC Roofing, Siluria Brewery, and our very special sponsor this year, AT&T, who has graciously brought their employees who are veterans to volunteer with the parade. And now we join the 72nd Annual National Veterans Day Parade in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to the Magic City 72nd Annual National Veterans Day Parade in Birmingham, Alabama. It is a gorgeous day at Railroad Park and Regents Field, and I am here with Matt Stevens.
Thank you, Karen. We're coming to you live from beautiful downtown Birmingham, just across the tracks from downtown, next to Railroad Park. Like Karen said, this is the 72nd Annual National Veterans Day Parade, and we will be with you all afternoon.
We sure will, and guess what? We have Siobhan Adams with us, and she is down there somewhere, and I'm supposed to point at her when it's her time to talk. Let's try this. Siobhan, talk to us. There's a lot going on at the beginning of this parade. And so here is Siobhan. We'll get back with her in a moment. What you're looking at right now is the Raymond Weeks family. In 1947, Raymond Weeks wanted so badly for Armistice Day to become Veterans Day. And this is his family. The legacy's on. There's a memorial in Lynn Park. And Mike Oakley is singing the national anthem for us to begin the parade. Fireworks. Thank you, Mike Oakley, for the national anthem. This is definitely an addition to the parade this year.
May God continue to bless America. All right, the lead vehicle.
So what you're looking at right now, yes, it is
Thorold Marshall
and Thurman. It's Thorold Roberts and Thurman Bryan, his good friend. We're very excited that they're able to come today.
And they're riding in a World War II era United States Navy Jeep that has been provided by the Dixie Division. And we'll be seeing a lot of them this afternoon. The Dixie Division has a lot of old military vehicles that they'll be providing.
And those guys have marched together in the parade for decades. They were good. They're going to stop and join us on the VIP stand today. This is good. It's going to take us just a moment.
Who's next? Miss Alabama 2019.
And we have Miss Alabama. Believe it or not, her name is Tiara Pennington. Tiara Pennington attends University of Alabama, where she's pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science and plans to attend law school. And with her,
we also have Miss Senior Alabama 2019, Phyllis Hain. Miss Hain is a resident of Coleman, Alabama. She's the author of Diamond in the Dark.
And she's beautiful.
Miss Senior Alabama 2019, Phyllis Hayes, a resident of Sullivan. She's the author of Down in the Dark, Leaving the Shadow of the Beach. She's active in organizations for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault.
Now, what you're looking at right now is an absolute phenomenon. That little boy is 6-year-old Jaden Magliano. He met someone when he was 4 years old. He met a wounded warrior whose leg had been hurt, and he was absolutely upset for that man. And they became dear friends, and he just could not be calmed down about the fact that it wasn't right, and he wanted to be his friend. And he has now raised over $5,000. He's 6 years old now. He's raised $5,000 with his lemonade stand.
That's amazing, and he was at the banquet that we held for the parade last night, and just seeing his energy on stage, it really did a lot of good for the veterans out in the crowd to see that people that young are still interested in causes like his.
Right when they announced how much money he had made, he high-fived his mama right there at the head table. It was
He got a kick out of meeting and just all the people that came up and said hi to him throughout the night. That really meant a lot to him, you could tell, and to the people meeting him as well.
We are looking at the Greater Alabama Council Scouts of America. That little boy, he's a piece of work. I can't remember what that sign was. The Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. There are many, many. This is the 60 flags. This is the Greater Alabama Council Scouts.
Founded in 1910, Boy Scouts of America is among this country's oldest continuous institutions. Their mission is to prepare youth to become America's future leaders and pillars of society. Through personal example and hands-on experience, Scouts learn the value of making positive, ethical, and moral choices throughout their lifetime. This time-honored character traits of the Scout law are to be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient.
And clean, and brave, and thrifty, and cheerful. Come on. All the good ones.
So now you're looking at the Battle of the Bulge Association, Ronnie Gwynn and Alan Mosley. Dixie Division, again, providing the vehicle for them. But these Battle of the Bulge veterans, one of the last great battles of World War II, great to see them still out and able to attend this type of event.
And here is Vern, like he said, Vern Miller. Actually, Vern Miller's ball cap. He died this past Wednesday, and I feel like a little piece of history is gone. We are used to having Vern and Stumpy Watson in the parade every year, and we're going to miss him, and we're going to miss him.
Ronnie Hewitt, the purpose is to preserve military transport equipment and educate the public on how the veterans use it.
What is that?
That is a Humvee, is what we call it. So those were used in Iraq and Afghanistan extensively. They're being phased out, but they're still being used today.
My trailer hitch looks nothing like that one.
That one can hold a little more weight.
Under a little more stress. You received a message from the Red Cross. We're looking at the Red Cross.
I did, and that's a Red Cross military ambulance, followed by another, looks like an old Dodge Air Force truck. So, and then behind them, we have a gentleman that is representative of our British brethren, and this is Sergeant Nathan C. Waller. And he's doing an interpretation of 100 years gone by, the Great British Army Combat Impression, and presented by the Army Alabama National Guard. He is a member of the American Legion Post 555 and still serving with the National Guard.
And coming up next, we have Woodlawn High School, U.S. Army ROTC. Their JROTC program has scored a 99 out of a possible 100.
So we have veterans that served in World War II all the way through all of the conflicts that our nation has been in, up to Iraq and Afghanistan, and we have those veterans that are still serving in those areas of conflict watching this live stream of the parade. So those that are currently serving in harm's way get a chance to see a parade in their honor as well.
Yes, we are here today specifically for those of us from the local area who are deployed, but also for people who are at work. They don't have time to make it out here today, but especially for the active duty that are away.
Yeah, and the theme for this year's Veterans Day Parade is veterans of OIF and OEF, and many of them, you know, myself included, you know, still have jobs. They're not yet of retirement age, so it's wonderful to be able to present something that they can watch at work, watch while they may be still deployed overseas.
And you're seeing CSC roofing and sheet metal. They're what they want you to know most is they feel because they went over there, we can be safe over here. They are committed to supporting and honoring our nation's heroes through job opportunities, support, and recognition. And now we are looking at the Vietnam War commemoration float that they have put together at CSC Roofing. Definitely outdid themselves this year. I love it.
And they're big supporters of the parade from what you were telling me.
Oh, yes. That's where you will find the president and the secretary-treasurer of the board responsible for this weekend. So.
Is a veteran of both Korea and Vietnam, having served in the military police. He has been likened to James Bond without the gadget.
Staff Sergeant Hosey Johnson is a veteran of both Korean and Vietnam wars, having served in the military police. He has been in the parade for years. He's been likened to James Bond, actually, back in the day, without the gadgets. So happy Veterans Day, sir, and thank you for your service to our country.
And I don't know if we caught it on camera, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. We just had a flyover of a P-51 Mustang, World War II era fighter. Those are incredibly rare, and he did a wonderful job, came right down the main strip here. So hats off to that guy.
What kind is it?
It's a P-51 Mustang. It was a fighter that was used extensively during World War II, and they actually kept it going during the Korean conflict because it was so effective.
Man. Well, here's the Southern Preparatory Academy. Formerly Lyman Ward, they have won the best JROTC marching unit 5 out of the last 6 years. And it's one of only 13 boys boarding military schools in the U.S. It was founded in 1898. It is Alabama's official military second school, and they are fully accredited and boast a 100% college acceptance rate. This is Southern Preparatory Academy, formerly Lyman Ward.
And this is one of the premier boys' schools, not just in the Southeast, but in the entire country. They do an excellent job of supporting the parade every single year.
And they look great doing it. God, there you go. The American Red Cross was founded by Clara Barton in 1881. Not only that, she established the Service to Armed Forces program, and that's what I was referring to when I said that Matt had received a Red Cross message when he was in the field.
Yeah, the American Red Cross does a lot to support not only veterans but active duty military members through the Red Cross message system. That is an incredibly effective way of getting important information to a service member, even if they're overseas in a combat area, you know, with limited or no access. The Red Cross can still get a message to them, you know, if there's something going on with a loved one or something that they just have to know. The Red Cross does a better job than the U.S. Mail in that instance. Rain or shine, they will get that message to the veteran or service member.
What if that was a surprise to you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So Lakeshore Foundation, those of you in Birmingham have heard of it, but they have a program called Lima Foxtrot within their program for establishing people with physical disabilities and chronic health conditions to flourish and go on and have full lives. Lima Foxtrot helps the wounded, ill, and injured men and women of our armed forces with inclusive sport and recreation. So representing Lakeshore Foundation here today are veteran members of its programs across all conflicts and branches of service. So if you want to learn more, go to lakeshore.org. Lakeshore Foundation.
So the Lakeshore Foundation does a lot for wounded veterans. It's a really, really premier rehabilitation program. You know, they work with people who have come back and are missing limbs or just have decreased mobility, and they do an amazing job with veterans and some civilians as well.
United Way of Central Alabama Priority Veteran is a program of United Way that serves veterans who are hopeless, and we just saw their float. And now you've got Disabled American Veterans.
The DAV is a veteran service organization with 20,000 members in Alabama, 1.3 members nationwide.
And in the first car, you're looking at Vice Commander Donald Day. He was speaking at the dinner last night along with Auxiliary National Commander Diane France. And Jerry Morgan, the DAV Auxiliary Alabama State Commander Linda Doss. We've got the Blount Coleman County Chapter 28 Commander Frank Cannon. And in the fourth DAV car, you're looking at the DAV Veteran of the Year, Pete Cobb.
So the DAV helps veterans with disability claims, transportation to the VA, medical appointments. They do volunteer aid and assistance to veterans and their families. Alabama actually has 33 Disabled American Veterans chapters throughout the state.
I would love to be the guy in that flyover plane.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me again what it's called.
So it's a P-51 Mustang. It was designed and used during World War II as really a jack of all trades. It could do air-to-air combat, air-to-ground combat. So it was just an outstanding. A lot of people consider it the best plane of World War II.
I'm excited about what's coming next. This is the Celestine Legacy.
And the Celestine Legacy reminds us that the Native American heritage while honoring veterans today. In 2017, the National Veterans of the Year were Navajo Code Talkers. These were Marines that during World War II developed a system that the Japanese could not crack. So this was a very effective communication system. You know, it's quintessential to the United States victory in the Pacific Theater, and just a wonderful tradition throughout these. They're go back far enough, and they were the most premier war fighters in the entire world, and wonderful to see that their heritage still lives on.
It's true. They did such a good job in World War I that they had to lay low and be reactivated for World War II to do the same thing again.
Now, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, just because it was a secret.
Really?
Yeah. And they are here to perform for us today. And this is definitely the brightest part of the parade. Celestine Legacy.
It's wonderful to see so many of them are young and continuing these traditions that have been going on for hundreds of years at this point.
Celestine Legacy. Beautiful. Now, as you watch the parade today, you'll see banners that represent announcing the different conflicts. World War II. They're just listing World War II, 1941 to 45. And this is Gadsden City School JROTC Battalion. So here you see the Gold Star Wives of America.
incorporated in 1945. These are military widows and widowers of service members who died either serving in the armed forces, active duty, or as a result of service-connected disabilities. These are some of the strongest advocates around for veteran services when it comes to things, like transition, assistance with, the prevention of suicide. They really are on the forefront of trying to establish programs for our veterans. And coming up behind them is Patriotism in Action. I'm going to let Karen talk about this one.
This is the riderless horse. Notice the boots are backwards in the stirrups. That is a tradition that goes back many, many centuries. The riderless horse is presented in funeral processions of officers of the U.S. Army and Marine Corps, the only services that rode horses. The boots reversed are from the ancient Greek funeral custom of reversing the order of everything from what they are normally. And this horse, Kip, is sent to the 2019 National Veterans Day Parade by Carissa and George Van Court of Clanton, and he's led by U.S. Staff Sergeant Jonathan Warren of the 167th Infantry Battalion. And the riderless horse is followed by U.S. Army retired Colonel Bob Bearfield, chairman of Patriotism in Action and chair emeritus of the support committee of the Alabama National Cemetery.
And this is one of the coolest floats we're going to see all day. This is the Alabama National Cemetery and the wreaths across America. There's a national cemetery, Alabama National Cemetery is in Montevallo, just south of Birmingham. And every year, Wreaths Across America will come out and place wreaths at the foot of each of these tombstones. Wreaths Across America will be at the Alabama National Cemetery on December 14th this year at 11 a.m., honoring our veterans through laying of remembrance wreaths on the graves of our country's fallen heroes.
And they like to say the name of each and every veteran aloud to say they are not forgotten. $15 per wreath. You can subscribe and make sure they are not forgotten.
So here we see a Blue Star salute, and the Blue Star signifies military service, while the Gold Star stands for a life lost in service to our country. Since 2005, the Blue Star Foundation has been on hand wherever and whenever to honor military service, from the National Guard deployment ceremonies with banners for soldiers' families, all the way to the little placement. If you ever look around in windows, you'll see a lot of these little banners, and it's just a white banner with a blue star in the middle, and that's usually indicative of a family that has a member that's deployed overseas.
Vet to Vet and Make Way Cafe are inside the Birmingham VA, and they help people lead a life outside of drugs and alcohol and depression, and they especially get the veterans prepared to make a claim for VA benefits. That is no easy task.
No, it's not. And even with all the reforms that are going through in the everything that goes on with the VA, there are a lot of services like this that just help you file a claim. A lot of veterans, when they come back from overseas, don't know that they could, don't know that they should file a claim. So services like this are an excellent way to get that started.
Director, Lieutenant Colonel Roy Watt, was opening their doors in 1900. This Birmingham City High School.
So we've got the Parker High School JROTC with Director Lieutenant Colonel Ron White. Since opening their doors in 1900, the Birmingham City High School has grown from an original 18 students to almost 1,300. With the addition of formal courses and industrial training, they were a very early working model of combining academics with hands-on working skills. And they are followed by the Parker High School Marching Thundering Herd.
And get this, since opening their doors in 1900, this Birmingham City High School has grown from 18 original students to almost 1,300. With the addition of formal courses in industrial training, they were a very early model of combining academics with hands-on working skills, something that is growing in the schools today. So here's Parker High School, the Birmingham City Schools.
They're so good we said it twice.
here that's Barker. And right now I want to explain a little bit to you about how much the soldiers need our encouragement as we see the Salvation Army go by. Gila is the support specialist for an area Army Reserve Center, and she hears it all from the men and women she's there to serve. When asked what she thought they would say from out in the field, here is what she spoke for them.
So we just want to say we appreciate everything that everyone is doing. Hey, please don't forget about those soldiers who are overseas that are still in the fight. We are so appreciative when we receive letters and emails and FaceTimes and gifts. Soldiers need you. We need to hear from you. Sometimes we can go days without hearing from anybody, so those little tidbits that we receive, it means a great deal for our mental, physical, and spiritual welfare. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love and support.
Keep up with them. But this is the Fleet Reserve Association, Branch 112. They represent the interests of enlisted Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine veterans and active duty personnel in the United States. And this is Bobby Peter.
Okay, so you're going to have to explain Bobby Peter to me.
Bobby Peter. Well, first of all, he's accompanied by a Purple Heart veteran, PFC Ralph Bixler, Sergeant Kim Moten of the Marines, disabled, and Sergeant Joshua Moten of the U.S. Marine Corps, disabled. Bobby Peter's been making positive changes in the lives of youth, ages 4 to 12, in the areas of character building and academics since the late 90s. He wants you to understand how to connect with others despite their disability. And we thank you, gentlemen, with Bobby Peter, for your service.
So coming up behind them, the Jewish War Veterans, Post 608, with Commander Dr. Robert Rutstein. The Jewish War Veterans is a patriotic voice of American Jewry and the oldest continuous operating veterans organization in the USA. Post 608 has 24 veterans who have served anytime from World War II all the way up to the current Afghanistan-Iraq conflict.
Post 608 has 24 veterans who have served from World War II to the Afghan-Iraq conflict.
I love that car.
This is the Krulak Marine Alliance.
The Krulak Marine Alliance of Alabama. I believe they're down in Hoover. Actually their float is really cool. It's a float of the Marines raising the flag on Iwo Jima, including Marine veterans in dress blues from World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and Gulf Wars. And they're the banner carriers.
So what we've got here is a representation of the flag raising on Iwo Jima, which was the kind of the pinnacle moment of the Pacific War campaign, as well as veterans from that era dressed up in their uniforms. They're still able to fit in them, which is good for them. I can't fit in mine anymore.
Really? So now we mark the Korean War, 1950 to 1953. And coming up behind, the Marion Military Institute. They've got the marching drill team of 14 cadets, a band of 30 cadets, and a marching unit of 356 cadets today.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Marion Military Institute's Alabama's military college for leadership development. Started in 1842. It's the oldest and largest military junior college in the nation. Leading off, first of all, the White Knights precision drill team. They were established in 1950. They've been everywhere, from the Indianapolis 500, the Sugar Bowl, the U.S. Air Force Academy drill competition, and the band, which you hear right now, the heartbeat of the Corps, directed by Mr. Jason Aylward and commanded by Cadet Captain Luis Brenton from Evergreen. The Corps of Cadets is 400 strong, representing 40 states and 44 Alabama counties, and over 210 generals and admirals are graduates of Marion.
You're not going to find better odds of graduating a general than that. That's incredible.
Plus, of course, countless leaders in government and private industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, to honor our military veterans this Veterans Day, we present you the 2019-2020 Marion Military Institute Corps of Cadets. It's got to be my favorite part of the parade. I love the way they look with all those white gloves all together.
Countless leaders and leaders of private industry. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor our military veterans.
And you see it's a very mixed we've got everybody represented here. There are people of all races, both male and female, at Marion. So it's good to see that.
I'm pretty excited about what's coming up because if you look at the back, there's the drill team. And they're the ones that have performed all over the place. Yes, they should perform for us today. We're just going to let you be here with them.
Precision drill team. As you've heard, they participate in everything from the Indy 500 to the Sugar Bowl and the United States Air Force Academy Drill Competition. First Sergeant Michael Magnus is directing. The White Knights commanded by Cadet Ian Donnie from Theodore, Alabama. The White Knights. All right, you young people out there watching, do you have what it takes?
I can tell you firsthand experience, Karen, what they're doing is called silent drill. And of all of the close order drill movements, this is absolutely the hardest. You don't have that sound in the background to tell you how to mark time. So they're doing an amazing job, even by my standards. So hats off to them. That is not easy to do. And those are full, those are not toy rifles either. They're non-functioning, but they're very heavy. So, that is an excellent, especially the little guy in the middle there. That was me 20 some odd years ago. The little guy in the middle trying to keep up with everybody else. So hats off to him.
Well, hats off to you.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Now you see the Military Order of the Purple Heart. So the Purple Heart is the award given to combat wounded. So it is probably underneath your Medal of Honor that everybody hears about. This is the one that means most to the veterans because that shows that you were there, you participated, you were injured, and it's a great honor. So it's great to see them out in support of us today. And that's the Junior Vice Commander, State of Alabama, Robert C. Jones, representing Chapter 2202 with Commander Larry Groves. And up next, we have the Chapter 416 of the Vietnam Veterans of America.
We've got the Alabama Vietnam Veteran of the Year, Richard Knight. He was at the dinner last night. I think he got a Quilt of Valor.
He did, yes.
One of those
Okay,
5.
yes. I remember that now. So he's
Yes.
there with some of his family.
If I were him, I might want to carry it with me.
Vietnam veterans, welcome home.
Okay.
It's wonderful to see such support for Vietnam veterans now. A lot of these veterans, when they came back from overseas, there was little to no support. You know, some of them were even, you hear stories of them being spit on at airports and just completely shunned from society for a number of years. So, you know, we've definitely flipped the script to a new page with that, and they're definitely getting the support that they need nowadays.
Won't be the last.
In talking with people, taking interviews of the various veterans from the various eras, I've heard a lot about the way they were received compared to the way they are now, and I'm glad that it's finally being talked about. And I know it's so different from the veterans today.
And you know, one of the first time I ever went to the VA hospital, the first thing I was told was welcome them home. Anytime you see a Vietnam veteran, welcome them home.
In just a moment, you are about to see the 117th Air Refueling Wing. I'm saying this ahead of time because it gets loud when they come by. The 117th Air Refueling Wing provides worldwide air refueling and intelligence support for our community, state, and nation. And these people get fired up. Alabama Air National Guard, led by Colonel Michael W. Todd, commander of the 117th Mission Support Group, is the recent recipient of the coveted Omaha Trophy, and it's the first ever in the Air National Guard. So the 117th is co-located at our airport, the Birmingham International Airport, and they have over 1,100 men and women. This is the 117th Air Refueling Wing with Wing Commander Colonel Scott Grant. Did you warn them about the fireworks? They're happening. If anybody deserves fireworks, it's the 117th. And now you got the Alabama wing of the Civil Air Patrol.
Led by Colonel Brian Williams, the cadets of the Alabama wing are proud to represent the Civil Air Patrol, which stands as an auxiliary to the U.S. Air Force, honoring our nation's veterans. Since 1941, the Civil Air Patrol has helped the nation through providing emergency services, aerospace education, and the cadet program. There are over 60,000 members across the country and 20,000 cadets nationwide.
Across the country and 20,000 cadets nationwide. The Civil Air Patrol. Thank you.
And I think this could get a little loud as well.
Yes.
Following up the Civil Air Patrol, we have the Alabama Gold Wing Road Riders, led by Assistant Alabama Director Danny Baker.
Yeah, they were founded in 1977, so they've been around. They are recognized as the world's largest single marquee motorcycle association in the world, and they provide safety, technical, and educational services to their members. And their mission, dedicated to their motto, Friends for Fun, Safety, and Knowledge.
And you can tell they're having a good time. Even at 4 miles an hour, they are really enjoying themselves out there. A lot of these guys are veterans, and that is their prized possession right there underneath them. Some of these things are pretty impressive too. I don't think I've seen so many motorcycles with trailers that cost more than my car. So that's good. I'm glad that they have that.
They're gorgeous to look at. I'm surprised they didn't rev their engines.
Yeah, no, I thought they were going to do that as well.
But here's somebody revving. This is the Winona High School JROTC. They are home of the Dragons, and their JROTC motto is pride and purpose.
And they are followed up by the Winona High School Marching Band.
And now you're looking, in just a moment, the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club of Alabama. They represent a long history and pay homage to African Americans of the 9th and 10th Cavalry who sacrificed their lives so their country could be what it is today. They are a badge of courage, sacrifice, and honor, as are those who continue to serve.
So this is your modern day cavalry, because back in the day it would have been horses. So now they're doing iron horses. But their objective is to educate those who are unfamiliar with racism, the sacrifices and hardships of the Buffalo Soldiers, and they're out in support today.
They had a tough time back then.
Yes. It has gotten easier, but they came from a very many years of hardship.
Do you know what you're looking at now?
I'm looking at a 1949 Mack truck that was actually used to serve customers of Alabama Power. So, and Josh Brown is the driver of this truck. This is Alabama Power's entry into the parade, and it's very pretty, actually.
Yeah, I like it. Anybody with the horn on the outside,
yeah,
that's gonna be heard.
And a bulldog on the front of your cab.
Well, it's a Mack. Stand in front of that. We are looking at the University of Alabama Air Force ROTC Sabre drill team.
Captain Ben Dobry, First Lieutenant Montano, the University of Alabama Air Force ROTC Sabre drill team is an elite group of cadets who perform specialized drill movements and cadences. Founded 64 years ago, the Sabres team has consistently represented the Air Force ROTC Detachment 10. This year's team is led by Cadet Captain Dobry and Cadet 3rd Class Brakefield. Roll Tide.
Birmingham Vet Center, Danny Baker, Assistant Alabama Director. Vet Centers are community-based counseling.
So this is Danny Baker, the Assistant Alabama Director for the Birmingham Vet Center. Vet centers are a community-based counseling service that provide a wide range of social and psychological services, including professional readjustment counseling to eligible veterans, active duty service members, including National Guard and reservists, and their families. Individual, group, marriage, and family counseling is offered in addition to referral and connection to other VA community benefits. Vet center counselors and outreach staff, many of whom are veterans themselves, are experienced and prepared to discuss the tragedies of war, loss, grief, and transition after trauma. These are one of the first groups that reach out to veterans when they transition to civilian life. So they're kind of an entryway into the Department of Veterans Affairs.
She's got you blocked off for all the way through the show between breakfield. This is all the sign.
Let's go to the next one.
This is going backwards.
The Birmingham Vet Center.
25-1-1-4.
And they have captured Richard F. Fleming, United States Navy, riding with them. He is a Vietnam veteran. He served in some very fierce battles. He was in Dong Ha, Quang Tri, and Cam Lo, all of which are very well-respected battles.
And what you hear right behind that beautiful Mustang, what you're hearing, it's Vet DRTI, but it looks like Vet Dirty. It's a disaster relief team made up of veteran volunteers that have served their country and now want to serve their community.
And they were founded this year in Hoover, Alabama, just south of here. They're not just superheroes, they're regular ones, is what they want everyone to know. They're just giving back to their community by providing any and all resources they can in times of natural disaster. They actually went down to Auburn and assisted in the search for the missing young lady down there.
Okay, you are looking at a lot of horses. The highlight of every Veterans Day parade for some people. Scott's Farms has 25 horses today, and they use them in therapy for people who have learning disabilities or physical disabilities. Perhaps they need to improve balance and motor skills and muscle strength and coordination. And if you didn't know, a lot of times children who have autism and are having physical issues with that are put on a horse because it's the only creature that walks like we do.
Really?
Prove me wrong. Our arms swing opposite our legs, and when you put a child who can't get it on a horse feeling that gait, they get off and begin walking a lot more easily than they would have if you had not done that.
And right behind Scott's Farm, you have H&H Farm, Rhonda Hefner riding Thor, and she's riding for her son, Tech Sergeant Zachariah Hefner of the Air Force.
And her father served in the U.S. Army. And then we've also got Sue and the Zoo. And I looked high and low trying to find what the H is meant for 4-H Club. 4-H intends to help children. This is the Shelby County 4-H Club. They've got 30 horses, but they help children become resourceful, resilient, individual adults. I mean, whatever the interest, there's probably a 4-H club for it. So this is Shelby County 4-H Club. And I know that Siobhan Adams is here somewhere. There she is. Siobhan is with us from AT&T today, and I wanted to talk with her for a moment about AT&T ERG. What is ERG?
ERGs are just an employee resource group. So I'm here actually today on behalf of AT&T's Veterans ERG. The employee resource group for veterans serves as a support system for our veteran employees and also provides them with an opportunity to further impact their communities. In 2010, AT&T met a goal of employing 10,000 veterans, and we have an initiative to double that number by 2020.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, so on behalf of AT&T, we just want to say thank you to everyone who has served.
Well, we thank AT&T for helping us today, because you have sent volunteers to come help us with the parade today, and it's been great fun talking to them.
Now, everybody wants to be that guy. That guy specifically on the screen. Everybody wants to drive the back of a fire truck with a ladder on it.
It is not as easy as you think.
I don't care. I'd still do it. The Southern Vintage Fire Apparatus Association is what we're looking at. 6 of the 9 drivers here today are veterans. Lewis McDonald, Terry Oden, Jerry Northington, Gene Northington, Dave Williams, and Richard Meyer. All veterans, along with Greg Barnett, Kenneth Booth, and Keith Kilgore. And they have a whole line list of equipment here. There's a 1985 Pierce, a 1981 Peterbilt, an 86 Mack, an 86 Seagrave. All of these are pumper trucks, 25 to 35 foot ladders. Their association is educational, nonprofit, dedicated to preserving the history and heritage of fire services through the collection of firefighting apparatuses and tools, and to honor all of those who have served in the fire service. Today, they honor all veterans that have served our country, including their own members who have served in the Army, Air Force, and Coast Guard. And those are just impressive. Absolutely impressive. Really well taken care of. And probably one of the most popular attractions of today's events for anybody under the age of about 10.
What about me? I can't think of a thing to say. I'm just sitting here watching. I know our friend Jerry Northington is in one of the trucks. I was trying to find him. Though they really do. You can go to one of their days and try being the guy on the back of the truck.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I had to go, but I could have done it.
We are. That is immediately once we get down from this booth, we're going after that guy.
They have programs that honor past and present veterans who are patients.
So now we're looking at Megan Strickland and Jennifer Key with Kindred Hospice. They are a program that honors past and present patients that are veterans.
This is a little group of girls coming up. Cutie Pies Catering. Cutie Pies, they were so determined to be in the parade today. They promised to wear red, white, and blue. They want us to know that they do a number of things for Birmingham veterans, from helping to feed the hungry, the homeless vets, to visiting nursing homes to spend time with them. And now they're preparing for their annual winter coat drive as Cutie Pies Catering. They mean it. They really care about the veterans.
And they're being followed by American Heritage Girls Troop 1128 with Kirstie O'Farrell. And we've got scouts of all ages on there. And I believe we're in for another performance.
We sure are. This is the Alabama School for the Blind. They are one of the only ones, if not the only one, that came last year and made it all the way through the route. It was pouring cold, cold rain down everyone's collars. Yes, I'm so glad. They were the champions. They're receiving a special award for being here.
So the president of the Veterans Day Parade is actually going to present them an award, is that correct?
Yeah, he's trying right now. I don't know if we can hear him.
It's a donation.
Yeah. Well, that's the prize. That's the prize for being the best band. That's Alabama School for the Blind. They're here every year. It's the best. I think they actually have a couple of students from Samford on the float with them today. They wanted us to say that. All right. As for the American Legion,
so the American Legion Department of Alabama, we've got a lot of people here. We've got Deputy Commander Ron Bradstreet, National Commander Bill Oxford, Department Adjutant Greg Akers, the NEC Willis Frazier, and the American Legion Auxiliary President Patricia Montgomery, American Legion Auxiliary NEC Judy Daughtry.
And the American Legion Department of Alabama family would like to thank all our veterans for their service. And we've got several posts today. We've got American Legion Post 338, the B.W. Howell Post 171, American Legion Post 1. We've got American Legion 21st District. We have Sons of American Legion for BW Howell, Squad 171, the Junior Leadership Group, they're all here.
The American Legion is one of these, along with the VFW, one of these groups that really does a lot for veterans to keep them engaged after their service. There are a number of services that they provide, from financial assistance all the way to helping them with VA claims and things of that nature.
So as far as how mail comes and goes during Iraq, Afghanistan, this is something else I wanted to talk to you about, Matt.
Sure.
Not everyone who is deployed is near the combat. There are so many aspects of supporting a field operation, a temporary base. So Hattie Bennett works to establish a field post office for sending and receiving the precious letters and the ever-welcome care packages from home.
Mission will be done in theater. It's hard to do our mission on the weekend. So, you know, you read the regulation, you understand how it's supposed to be done. But ours is one that you don't do until you're deployed. You set up a post office, you have the APOs established, you set up the mail rooms, and you prepare to begin to receive mail for distribution to the soldiers and to receive mail to send back home from the soldiers. So that's essentially what my unit does.
So with Iraq and Afghanistan still being, just finishing up or even ongoing in the case of Afghanistan, a lot of people don't realize that the technology that we have even today was not around during the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. So the setting up of post offices, like she's talking about, was incredibly important to get those messages. There was something called Moto Mail that we used in Iraq, and families and friends would go online and they would type out an email, and the email was then printed off and presented to the service member in the form of a letter. So letters from home, even in 2003 to 2009 timeframe, incredibly important.
Sons of the American Legion, the mission of the BW Howell American Legion is to support and honor the sacrifices of those who serve by enhancing the lives of our veterans, military personnel, and their families, both at home and abroad. For God and country, we advocate for veterans to educate our citizens, mentor youth, and promote patriotism, good citizenship, peace, and security. Sons of American Legion, Squadron 171.
The BW Howell Post 171. These are the sons of the American Legion.
The Junior Leadership Group, Commander Freddie Jones, report. First Vice President Hannah Jones, Secretary Zion Porter, Brandon Giddens, Maliki Porter, the American Legion 21st District Junior Leadership Group, also sponsored by BW Howell. These youth are all members of the American Legion Auxiliary, or sons of the American Legion. All the children are descendants of veterans. You can see them holding pictures of their loved ones. They're dedicated to assisting veterans. And that's the positive.
We're looking at the Junior Leadership Group of the American Legion. And J.T. Tate, the commander of American Legion Post 1. Commander Tate has led Post 1 for 10 years. He's a U.S. Army disabled retired veteran, Vietnam War veteran. Vice Commander Shepard is also U.S. Army retired Vietnam War veteran. And they both support, energize, and motivate the VA hospitalized veterans with snacks and conversation twice a week.
113, August 1.
Since we're in the middle of all this.
Hey, how y'all doing so far? You having fun? All right. Big thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Danny Sample, who's a great
Yeah, you are looking at Commissioner Sheila Tyson. They have embedded her in the American Legion group as she is a veteran herself. And that's why she is in the parade today.
Vanessa Bradstreet. That's a prophetic number. Next is Commissioner Sheila Tyson. She's a supporter of our veterans here in Birmingham. She's a veteran too. Thank you, Sheila.
And I believe we are finishing up the American Legion.
Hey, let's hear it from the back lot.
And going right into the back lot youth drumline and color guard, led by Michael McGee, director Brian Mellor, percussion Alana Lawler and Emily Smith, and color guard co-sponsor. The Backlot Battery is a drumline and color guard group made up of homeschool students from all over Central Alabama.
Backlot Battery. Youth drumline and color guard. Now you're a Marine veteran.
Yes,
Are you
Just a
part
little.
of a Marine veteran, a league or anything?
I am. I'm actually I'm part of the Krulak detachment.
Are you
one of their
really?
charter members. This is the Howland Mad Smith detachment. They're based in downtown Birmingham. Howland Smith was a general that was actually from Alabama, Marine Corps general. He's considered the father of modern amphibious warfare, and so the post was named in his honor. And here you see some of these Marine Corps veterans.
Reading about him was something. It's like I could only come up with 3 men that had as much influence, him and 2 others, as far as warfare in the Pacific in World War II.
Well,
Landing and getting.
yeah, Colonel Krulak, or General Krulak, is another one. He was, whereas Howland Smith did a lot for the development of amphibious warfare, General Krulak did the same thing for helicopter warfare. So he was really instrumental in bringing the helicopter to the forefront of how the Marine Corps operates today.
Was that Brute?
Yes,
Was this for Vietnam?
Korea and Vietnam.
Korea, Vietnam? And here we are looking at Carver High School JROTC.
Cadet Commander Lieutenant Demonica Shaw Dawson, Drill Commander Cadet Corporal Ivy Carter Wilson.
And what's right on their heels is the band, the Mighty Marching Rams, and they are here to perform for us today. They are ready.
The George Washington Carver High School Mighty Marching Rams have received superior ratings at the Pride of the Valley competition in Pinson, most recently, Pell City Marching Festival, and were named grand champions at the Birmingham City Schools Marching Evaluation.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, what a wonderful job. And they are being followed up by the Mid-Alabama Corvette Club. Get this, they are a 501c. They are a nonprofit Corvette club. That's pretty cool. Over 150 active members who all drive what's deemed America's sports car, the Corvette. For over 30 years, all proceeds have gone to support Magic Moments, as well as the Children's Hospital. They often provide the little red wagons that you hear about at Children's Hospital, where they take the kids from appointment to room and a room to appointment in a little red wagon. So that's part of the, that's provided by the Alabama Corvette Club.
Yeah, those little wagons do a lot to make things less scary.
These little wagons can do a lot too. I'm surprised somebody hadn't put it in neutral and laid on it.
I know.
There he goes.
He heard you. I think they said they had about 15 cars in the parade today. I really do wish they'd gone in a little bit.
All right, the Mid-Alabama Corvette Club. Those are good-looking rides, aren't they?
So following up the Corvettes here, if you can't buy a Corvette, then absolutely buy a surplus Army truck. And that's what we see a couple of coming up behind the Corvette Club here. And that would be my choice. If I was going to buy something, yes, a Corvette's cool, but everybody can buy a Corvette. What you really need is one of these guys right here.
I don't want to ask Siobhan if she can hear me. There she is. Siobhan is down on the street. She is with Jeff Sullivan and Matt Sullivan. They are a father and son pair. And Jeff is on the board of the National Veterans Foundation. And I'm wanting very much for her to be able to speak with them, but let's wait for just a moment until after. The guys from the Robert L. Howard State Veterans Home in Pell City. If you want some stories, you need to go visit those guys. They have everybody from World War II, Korea, Vietnam War, some from over Iraq, Afghanistan.
Thank you, Birmingham.
So many stories. Got Sergeant Scoggins from Vietnam, Corporal Barnes from the Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Johnson, Navy and Air Force, Mosley from the Coast Guard, Slavinsky, Marine Corps, Leonard in the Army, Miss Kelly in the Army, Johnson Army, Yarborough Navy, Bryant Navy, and Dawn Lovell of the Navy. And she's a senior director.
And they really appreciate you being able to get all of those names flawlessly out.
They're right by my face. I can't say this. Behel Army, Yanora Army, and Cromes Air Force. Happy Veterans Day, guys. So Siobhan, you are there with Jeff and Matt Sullivan.
Yes, I am. I'm here with Jeff Sullivan, his son Matt, and this family has a pretty remarkable history with the military. Jeff, would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
It's an honor to be here today. Our family has over 100 years cumulative service to this country, dating back to the Revolutionary War to present. My 3 brothers were in the military. I have 2 sons in the military. This son, Matt, graduated from West Point. had 3 combat tours, wounded while he was over there. And it's an honor to be here today, and we love serving our country and really appreciate everything that you do for us. So.
Again, I just want to say thank you for everyone. The Veterans Day, just honoring everyone is just amazing. The turnout today has been fantastic, so really appreciate you guys.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your service.
And thank you, Siobhan. So what do you make of that, Matt?
Well, military service through families is something that it just becomes ingrained in you. You know, my grandfather served in World War II in the Pacific, and you know, from the age of probably 2, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And for a lot of people, that's how it is. They're born, they're made aware that their family is in the military, and that's it for them as well. So it's nice to see the father and son team out there today.
And my father, my uncle, my brother, his son, my cousin's son. Yes, and as a matter of fact, we are absolutely covered up with Boy Scouts. We've got the Boy Scouts Greater Alabama Council. We have the Cub Scout Pack 220.
So founded in 1910, the Boy Scouts of America is among the country's oldest continuous institution. Their mission is to prepare youth to become America's future leaders and pillars of society. We saw some of them earlier in the parade, and we've got just flocks of them here. Followed up with some Girl Scouts as well.
Oh yeah, that little afterthought, Girl Scouts. We have the cookies, but y'all, some of the little boys are so excited because when they're in the parade today, they are fulfilling achievements, some of their patriotic requirements for merit badges. They call it rank advantage, but they meant merit badges. So, and the Girl Scouts. I was a Girl Scout. I was wonderful in the canoe.
This is the Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama. Their chief executive officer is Karen Peterlin, and this is their the girls and the adult volunteers all marching.
Scouting is wonderful. My cousin's nephew was received his Eagle with Rex Tillerson over in Belgium, in the Netherlands.
Oh, really?
Yep. Now, you went to Spain Park High School, didn't you?
I did. I graduated Spain Park in 2004 and went immediately into the Marine Corps. And we've always had a large band, and they're definitely having a nice showing here today. So this is the Spain Park High School Band, the pride of the park, with directors Richard Adams and Chris Nugent.
And they're going to perform.
And they are going to perform. So the year that I graduated, it was the first year that they had students at Spain Park, and we actually got to vote on the colors, and the mascot was the Jaguar, so we voted on all of that, the color scheme. I think the yearbook's called the Rosette, and we voted on that as well.
The Rosette?
I think it's the spot on a Jaguar.
Oh, of course. How could I not know that? He has LEDs on his drums.
Well, I wasn't in the band when I was there, but they, I can't imagine having to do that, march and play an instrument at the same time.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I have to confess I wasn't saying anything because I was videoing it. I'm sorry. I had my iPad out.
You know we're on video, right?
I know it's on video.
Like no, we are on video. Yeah. So you have a performance. You already have it.
Well, yeah, I know, but there's just something about it. It makes me
feel like recording it.
I like recording it. Yes, I like recording it. I'll say it. And I like drums. I don't like interrupting them, especially the breakbeat they use to keep time still. JustServe.org is a national nonprofit website where service projects and volunteers come together and connect to get things done. Today, Just Serve is honoring Colonel Kent Jackson for his wonderful example of service to our community and our country.
So he served in Vietnam, Germany, and Korea.
JustServe.org.
Tonight they're honoring Colonel Kent Jackson for his wonderful example of service to our community.
And behind him, you see the Dancing Diamonds. This dance team is wearing Army hats and passing out American flags today, letting our troops and veterans know that they do have a lot of love and support coming from each generation. As a group, the Dancing Diamonds also go and they help veterans in need and homeless people.
And someone in our production trailer said, and they're just adorable. So Team Corvette Alabama is a local Corvette club also sponsored by Hendrick Chevrolet and an integral part of vetsforvets.org. All of these members are avid enthusiasts of what they say is America's only true sports car, the Chevrolet Corvette.
So if you look at the Corvette to veteran ratio today, I think we can make a solid argument for my wife, who is watching, that we need to go ahead and pull the trigger and get a Corvette. If that's what we're supposed to do, which clearly it is.
It's just because vet is in the name.
You know, I didn't know that. I mean, I did, obviously, but maybe that's what the connection is. So
there's somebody within like the last year who parked and it said, "I am a vet," and it was a vet.
On their license plate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Arc, arc. So Diamond, if you're listening, we'll be headed to the local Chevrolet dealer immediately at the end of this broadcast. Well, if there is such thing as being cooler than a Corvette, it's having your very own MASH helicopter. And here you see the Southern Museum of Flight with Wayne Novi, Zach Edison, and Brian Bersani. They're riding in a Humvee, pulling a Bell 47 MASH helicopter. So this is the helicopter from the show MASH. And what that was during Korean War, like we were alluding to earlier, when we really started to see the use of helicopters in a combat zone. MASH stood for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. And so this meant that, you know, during World War II, if you were injured, somebody carried you, put you on a Jeep. It took forever. And unfortunately, there was a very high casualty rate, you know, if you were injured in combat. The helicopter that you see here was one of the first, and you can see the skids on the side there. They would place wounded service members on there and fly them directly to a hospital. So instead of being hours or maybe even a day away from the surgery that they needed, they were only minutes away. And it really revolutionized, you know, the ability to be injured and survive in a combat zone.
And that was the first sighting of Bell helicopters.
Yes.
As far as in big use. Okay, so we are now looking at Ramsey High School, the JROTC, And let me tell you, Ramsey is a school to take note of. They scored a 99.5 on the Army Accreditation Program, the highest score in Alabama. They're one of the few programs in the state authorized to wear a gold star on their uniforms representing honor unit with distinction. And Ramsey High School itself deserves a gold star, if you ask me. They have also brought their marching band today, and we get to give a listen.
And this is the cadet corps for their ROTC. They're doing close order drill to Stevie Wonder. You hear it back there? Crowd, you'll hear it in a minute. They're doing close order drill to Stevie Wonder. That's all you need to know. So that's pretty amazing.
I couldn't decide whether it was Superstition or Rolling
It
with
is.
My Homies.
Yeah, it's Superstition. I just couldn't remember if the name of the song was Superstition, but they're doing close order drill to Stevie Wonder. You've never done that, and I don't care who you are listening. You've never done close order drill to Stevie Wonder.
But I could play Stevie Wonder to their close order drill.
Now that's an accomplishment.
I could do that, yes. But then it wouldn't be what that is.
Well, I'm not doing close order drill. There's no way.
I guess it is Superstition.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They get the gold star for coolest performance so far.
Well, I have to say that we put a very strong emphasis on making sure that there's some patriotic music in there. But at this point, I will say Stevie Wonder unites us one and all.
As I speak for all OIF and OEF veterans everywhere when I say that close order drill to Stevie Wonder is as patriotic as it needs to be.
Oh. Very good. Very good. And the Ramsey High School marching band coming close on their heels. You're looking at some excellent ROTC accomplishment, and here they come. wants to interrupt Stevie Wonder? Who wants to interrupt the Ramsey High School band? It should not be. I can't remember what their percentage of graduation is, but it's almost 100%. And here comes the National Society of the Daughters of American Revolution. We've got the Birmingham Territory Group with Vietnam Veteran Airman First Class Career, U.S. Air Force. We also have the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Cahaba chapter, carrying Nancy Folk, who's the National Vice President, Jean Vaughn, the Past Reporter General, Tammy Clemens, State Regent, and Marianne Kane Garrett, the Chapter Regent. The Daughters of the American Revolution. I'm going to hold that thought because here's Honda.
So Honda Manufacturing of Alabama, and you see Stephen Hay there. As we admire the Honda Passport made right here in Lincoln, Alabama, it's about 45 minutes away. We want to say thank you to Honda for their commitment to actively supporting the veteran communities around the country and especially in Alabama, and they say Happy Veterans Day.
And ushering in the Daughters of the American Revolution is the KDSDAR High School Band. And that is the Daughters of American Revolution High School public school that is supported by the DAR and provides education with a patriotic emphasis. It's more than that, it's a very interesting education, and they learn to cherish their country and to respect the flag and the Constitution.
And I think everybody can recognize the throwback to the American Revolutionary War uniform. A lot of uniforms out here today. It's amazing to think that for the United States, this was our military uniform at one point. You see everybody in camouflage nowadays, but you know, there was a point in time where this is what you had.
So you're looking at the KDSDAR High School. And there are several chapters here today. They wanted to make sure that you heard about all of them. There are so many chapters of the Daughters of American Revolution across the country. But there's the Cahaba chapter, I mentioned that. There's also the Birmingham Territory chapter, the General Sumter chapter, the Princess Sehoy chapter, the David Lindsay chapter, the Lily of the Cahaba chapter, the Sons of the American Revolution, and the Children of the American Revolution. Now, the Sons of American Revolution, they've got Colonel Roger Vaughn, who's a U.S. Army retired. He is active duty during the Berlin Wall and the Cuban Missile Crises, like my dad, and 20 years reserve duty. And there's a 4-person color guard with them. And the Children of the American Revolution, they are descendants who are learning young about history and their place in it. And on the float today with the Children of the American Revolution, you have Bob Thomas, who's a U.S. Air Force veteran and the senior president of Children of the American Revolution, Richard Price, the veteran and state president. And that is the Daughters of the American Revolution. And another thing that I kind of wanted to let y'all know that we had talked to people about was that along with physical injuries in combat, we hear a lot about PTSD, even suicide among soldiers. And while overseas, they get to know each other's habits very well. But when they get back to the States, their buddies are often the first to notice the signs of depression and become an important lifeline for them. And here is Shanrika.
So normally you watch people, and if they start behaving out of character, normally you'll be approached before you even have a moment to say something. It's like, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you. Or, hey, you've been late. You know, we're gonna talk to each other. So normally nobody has to, you don't have to say anything. Somebody will pick it up before you have to say anything.
And obviously with the statistic, everybody's heard about it by now, 22 a day, 22 a day, veterans committing suicide. And I was talking to a local politician here who's actually a Marine Corps veteran, Neil Rafferty, and he was telling me that the data suggests that 17 out of those 22 have never even sought any kind of help. So that's why it's so important when they transition back home that the support group that they went over there with stays in contact with them. And that's why we see so many organizations out here today, like the Disabled American Veterans, American Legion Posts,
Vet
to Vet, all of these different organizations that, their goal is to keep that veteran community, vet to vet, together for that very purpose, because we're the first ones that they can tell within our own ranks that there's an issue going on. So very important statement.
And I would say as a family member of someone who's been, you don't just act like you understand, because you don't. You just help them ease back into regular life by, going out, seeing if they want to.
Yeah, there's a big difference between understanding and support. And a lot of people think that you have to understand what they're going through. And a lot of veterans don't want you to try to understand what they're going through. They just need you to be there in a form of support. And so that's why, like I said, these veteran service organizations and events like this that educate the public, that there are veterans out there. They do matter. They do want your feedback. You don't have to understand what they're going through to be able to support them. And that's why events like this are so important, so that the veterans, especially the newer crop, if you will, from OIF, OEF, are still able to see that there's this much interest generated. I mean, we can only see a fraction of the people that are out here today, at Railroad Park across the street and watching from Regents Field here. And we can actually look from our booth all the way across and see the parade and then the scores of people over there. So a lot of people out here today, and we're very appreciative of it. And you've got the VFW is coming through now, and the lead truck, that is Jerry Anger. He is the state commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and he is being followed up by the post commander of the Kelly Ingram Post. That's the one in downtown Birmingham here. VFW, it stands out from the American Legion a little bit, because qualification for the Veterans of Foreign War means that you have to have served in combat in some sense of the way. So these are combat veterans, and here you see the post that I'm affiliated with, VFW Post 12185. This was named after Lance Corporal Rivers, who was a Marine he's actually from Hoover, Alabama. He lived in my neighborhood, although I've never met him, and he died in Afghanistan. And so this post, which was the first VFW to be created since 1997, was named in his honor. And we are really trying to bridge the gap between the older generation of veterans and the younger, and letting people of my age, I'm 33, letting 33-year-old veterans know that there are groups out there that do care, and that there is a spot for them within these organizations.
That is good to know. And you are looking at Jackson Olin High School, ROTC. They are the Mustang Battalion. They were founded in 1952 in Ensley. And the JROTC mission is to motivate young people to become better citizens.
And they're followed up by the band, the Jackson Olin High School Band.
They have boasted numerous award-winning performances under band directors Gordon, the late Donald Crawford, Daniel.
I know we're not talking a lot, but it's a band, and they're on the way.
Yeah, and we're trying to let everybody experience the parade as if you were actually here. We don't want to just commentate on everything that we see, even though that's what I am known best for. But we want you to feel like you're actually here with us, you know, and able to see everything as though you were on the side of the road here.
Well, not on the side of the road, but like on the sidewalk.
No, that is the road. They are on the side. You can say side of the road. That's fine.
But that's like you broke down or something.
No. Side of the road's fine.
Look, the Mean Green Marching Machine, Jackson Olin High School.
And they are performing for us as well.
There we go, the Mean Green Marching Machine. Stay on.
So, as we continue through kind of the arc of why we live stream this parade and how soldiers need our encouragement and how we get encouragement to them through the coming and going over in Iraq and how the friends are tight with them, there is Bill. And Bill is returning to civilian life. He says when doing that, today's soldiers have a very different set of issues to resolve. Almost everyone talks of how hard it is to drive normally after driving in a combat zone. It becomes nearly impossible to do that in rush hour traffic. So here's Bill.
When you're driving in Baghdad, you drive down the center of the road. You don't drive to the edge because there may be IEDs on the side of the road. So I'm driving down the interstate and I'm trying not to panic because I'm too close to the right-hand side of the road where there might be IEDs. I wanted to ride the center of the highway down and straddle the center of the lanes. And I'm driving, holding the steering wheel as tight as I can, thinking I can't go over there. And it keeps popping in your mind. And your mind keeps telling you it's safe here, there's nothing wrong, but you're dealing with, you've had a year of avoiding getting blown up, and suddenly you take that away. And it's an ingrained habit. It took me months to get used to driving, not driving combat driving as we called it in Iraq versus driving here in the United States.
So I want to mention that we just saw the Alabama Elks Association pass by. The Elks motto is, so long as there are veterans, the benevolent and protective order of the Elks will never forget them. And, you know, what Bill's talking about there, it's a very important issue. You know, in wars past, there were the heightened sense of awareness when it came to sound and things like that. But for today's veterans, a lot of it has to do with improvised explosive devices. And, you know, him talking about how he got through that. He's a member of the post that I'm affiliated with. So, you know, it's wonderful to see that he's able to overcome that.
I agree. And we were learning about the Supreme Emblem Club, which Philip Beagle is here from Boston. He's their supreme president of Emblem Clubs of the United States of America, who place a lot of emphasis on the American flag and the Constitution.
Yeah, and they act as an auxiliary to the Elks Club.
I think we're looking at all of the Shriners.
Zamora, yeah, the Shriners.
Yes. They didn't say they'd be bringing motorcycles today. That's awesome.
They have dune buggies. They have dune buggies.
Yes, they do.
In the front car there, you have Tim Vaughn. He actually stepped out and gave a little salute to the crowd. And this is the Zamora Motor Corps of the Shriners. There are 22 Shriner hospitals for children. These men have a big time, lots of fun as they raise money so these hospitals can take care of children until their 18th year, regardless of their family's ability to pay. They provide free round-trip transportation and accommodations for the nearest Shriner hospital, which for us in Birmingham, that's Greenville, North Carolina. So the Shriners can get you to Greenville, and I'll shut up and we can listen to the dune buggies.
Look at that.
I'm gonna have to talk to the VFW and see what we need to do to get us a couple of dune buggies.
You need to be Shriners. So the Daughters of the Nile are the group of women related by birth or marriage to a Shriner or a Master Mason. And they band together to raise over $2 million each year for Shriners Hospitals for Children. So there are more than 20,000 Daughters of the Nile throughout Canada, the U.S., and South America. And I don't know if they get to ride in the dune buggies.
Well, there were a couple of auxiliary in the dune buggies.
Mm-hmm.
So here you see the Queen Jamie Little of the Daughters of the Nile.
Now that's a tiara. No, that's a crown.
Yeah, that is not a tiara, ma'am. That is a full-blown crown.
She is a queen. There you go. Yes. The Lovelady Center, there's something about them I did not know. First of all, several of the ladies there have served in the military and are overcoming PTSD or addiction. That's post-traumatic stress disorder or addiction. The Lovelady Center is the largest faith-based transitional facility in the country with over 500 women and children. I remember when it was started. They support our troops and veterans and help several overcome addiction and PTSD. They pray for America. This is the Lovelady Center right here in Birmingham.
So we've got the Huffman High School Marching Band with Tony Whitaker, Darian Smith, Reba Harris, and Alexis Anderson. The Huffman High School is a magnet school and also have the largest of, they are also the largest of 7 Birmingham city schools. And they are here today performing in the parade with us.
Eyes right.
And this is their Corps of Cadets as well.
Mighty Marching Viking Band of Huffman High School.
It's a magnet school, and also the largest of Birmingham City schools.
It sounds far away. Just got to get them closer.
Here they come.
Yeah.
The build-up. That's what they were working on.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful job, high energy with the band there. And following up behind them, we have the Summit Media is a group in Birmingham that has a lot of radio stations. And this year they are honoring veterans that are employees of each radio station. So up first you've got 98.7 KISS, and the rider is Army veteran Brian K. Oden.
And you've got Jams.
95.7 Jams with their Julian Slay Queen as printed. Slay Queen Logan. Hats off to Julian.
That's right. And WZZK is next.
WZZK, we've got Mark Lindsay and Craig Allen. Craig Allen is the Army veteran.
And Mark Lindsay driving, hey.
And then 106.9 The Eagle, that's the classic rock station here in town, and their driver is River Dolan.
And they've done a wonderful, wonderful job of promoting the parade for us and running the commercials and PSAs to let people know to show up for the park, or if you can't watch it, then you can watch it at your desk on the live stream. Magic City Dimes. This is another group of itty-bitties that are on their way up, and they will be something. They want so badly to be in the parade. It was founded by Jarvis Ward in March of 2019, and they just want to be here because they know veterans, they take care of veterans, they do things for veterans, and they learn to grow up and be responsible citizens and to love their country. The Magic City Dimes. Now this is another Humvee?
Yes, this is another Humvee, and this is what would look indicative of something that's used overseas nowadays. As earlier you saw no doors, no armor to speak of, and you can really tell that this one's got a lot of armor plating, armored windows, so this would be something like what you would see in Iraq or Afghanistan. And this is the 5th Medical Brigade. It's one of the Army Reserve units here in Birmingham. They've been around for some time and have several soldiers that have been involved in various theaters of operations. And First Sergeant Kevin Eads is who you saw there with the flag. And I'll be honest with you, I did not know that there was a Marine Corps JROTC, so I suggest everyone send your child to Shades Valley High School, the Marine Corps ROTC, led by Commander Captain Lawrence.
And here come
they
the
get fireworks.
They get fireworks. Yes. And they are carrying the American flag and the U.S. Marine Corps ROTC flag.
Shades Valley High School is a model 21st century school providing diverse pathways for students to excel in a global society. And again, because they're the only Marine Corps JROTC in town, send your child there.
It has been spoken. Now, I don't know if you remember, but we mentioned to you that the police do their tricks at the beginning of the parade, and our beautiful fire trucks of the Birmingham Fire Department are the ones who send us off into the evening. And right now we are looking at a street full of them.
And it goes without saying, a lot of firemen and police officers are veterans. So I think it's safe to say that several members riding along here are going to be veterans as well. Good to see them getting an opportunity to march.
They are.
Or ride.
And a lot of the Homes for Heroes projects extend to first responders,
I'm
too.
cutting you off. See, he's driving it. Look at that.
You can too.
I didn't even know they had one of those. And he's
What do you
actually,
mean? It's a
everybody
big
else is going in
city.
a straight line. He's doing it. That's the guy you want to be right there. That's the whole reason you come to the Veterans Day Parade.
Well, you don't want
is
to be the
watch
car
that guy
next
do
to
that.
him.
I bet that guy's a veteran. Just saying. I don't know for certain, but I bet
don't
that
know.
guy's
Let's
a
get a
veteran.
look at him.
I can tell by what he's doing with the back half of that fire truck. High
He's a
percent
hot
chance.
dog. He's definitely a hot dog.
Oh, he's got full sleeves. He's a veteran. I'm telling you. I'm speaking for him right now. Full tattoo sleeves and doing tricks on the back of the fire engine. He's a veteran.
Well, the thing I can tell you is that they hold off on the sirens until us. They have not been doing this the whole route. It would scare the horses. It would exhaust people. Well, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Have you had fun, Matt?
I had a wonderful time. I really appreciate you inviting me out. I appreciate the National Veterans Day Parade going out of their way to make sure that this year's focus was on OIF, OEF veterans.
And tell us again what that stands for.
So OIF is Operation Iraqi Freedom, and that is kind of a phrase to describe all of the operations that happened during the Iraq from 2003 onward. OEF is Operation Enduring Freedom, and that's your Afghanistan. So OIF, OEF veterans, those are people that served in either Iraq or Afghanistan. The people that you heard on camera in the interviews today, those are all OIF or OEF veterans, like myself. And so we really do appreciate the National Veterans Day Parade being hosted in Birmingham here, the oldest, if I'm not mistaken, and the first Veterans Day Parade, and going out of their way to honor veterans of the OIF and OEF era.
So on behalf of all of the veterans and all of the active duty, on behalf of all the people who turned out for the parade today, thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you back here next year.
We will.
Happy
Thank you so
Veterans
much.
Day.